Hello everyone, and welcome to the Chapter 2 homework where we're talking about fractions. I would like to cover some of the main points about fractions over here and show you guys some tips and tricks about how you can solve these kinds of problems with fractions. I understand that fractions can be a little bit confusing. It seems like there's a lot of rules that goes along with them. You know, there can be a lot to do just to perform something like a simple addition. You just want to add some fractions. It's like, oh man, why is it so hard to just add these fractions? Because there are some steps in between, things that we have to take care of. We're going to see a little bit more of that later as far as these kinds of fun things like finding common denominator and all of that kind of stuff. Right at the beginning here, we just want to define some of these types of fractions that we can have. What is the type of fraction? And so, that's not what I'm going for. We have, of course, a proper fraction, where a fraction has, of course, a numerator on top and a denominator on bottom. And so a proper fraction just means that the numerator is less than the denominator, which a proper fraction, another way of thinking of this is it's something that's in between usually 0 and 1. It's something that's in between 0 and 1. And if you actually do the division, like here for example, this number that we're dealing with, 5/18, if you actually divide 5 by 18, you're going to end up getting a decimal like 0 point something. So that's what kind of a number we would get for a proper fraction. So here, of course, that's what we're dealing with. We have a proper fraction. An improper fraction just means, improper is that the denominator is greater than the numerator. And so an improper fraction, if we actually divide those numbers, we're about to get ready to see one right now, we would get something more than 1. So we would get a number in front of the decimal place, like 2 point something. That's what we could get for an improper. Mixed number, it's kind of the same as an improper fraction, but we just put, of course, a whole number in the front, a whole number, for example, the number 2, and then we put a fraction behind it, like 2.5. Now what this actually means, 2.5, it means 2 plus a half. It means you've got a 2 as the whole part, and then you've got plus another half after that one. And so we will discuss these kinds of problems like translating the mixed number into a whole, or into improper fraction, and vice versa, doing those conversions. And then eventually in Chapter 3 we're going to be working with the decimals as well, so we will find out decimals for these. Now of course this one is a proper fraction and it is called 5/18. It's kind of hard to spell 18ths. And so those are 5/18. And then this one, converting an improper fraction to a whole or mixed number. Really this thing also, this line in the middle, it's a division line. So really this thing, 50 divided by 8 is what we're dealing with, 50 divided by 8. And so we can divide this one, and of course 8 will go into 56 times, and then it goes 48, 2, and so we're done. It has a remainder of 2, 6 with a remainder of 2, and so the way we would write this is that basically 8 goes into 56 whole times, and so that would be the whole number is 6, and then what we're getting ready to write, I want to reduce it first because it's going to go 6 and 2/8 is basically what it is. There's 6 and then plus there's 2/8 left over. After we do the whole 6, that takes up 48 of the 50, and then there's 2 out of the 50 are left over to make 2 more 8s. But of course 2/8, we can reduce this, and always we can reduce a fraction by dividing the top and bottom by the same thing. And so here 2 and 8, they're both divisible by 2, so we can go top and bottom divided by 2, and it would become 1/4. So it's 6 1/4. Or 6 1/4. And then we're doing it again for the improper fraction that goes 44/16, which also can be interpreted like 44 divided by 16. So if we divide this, 16 will go into 44. 3 times is too much, but it will go twice. And then it goes 32. 44 minus 32 is 12. And so that's less than 16, so we have to stop now. We have to say 2 with a remainder of 12. Which basically means 2 and 12/16. So these two made up 32/16, and then there's 12 more to get the whole 44/16. And we have here 12 and 16, they're both divisible by the same thing. What do you think? Surely they're divisible by 2, but we can do better than that. They're actually, they're both divisible by 4, and so it would go on top 3 and on bottom 4, so it's 2 3/4. So we'll be trying some more problems like these, start to do some conversions in future videos. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.